Planned giving is actually also called legacy giving and consists of gifts made to the church through your financial or estate plan. The definition of legacy is something received in the future that was arranged for in the past. These gifts are usually deferred, meaning that funds will not be dispersed until the donor passes away. The most common types of planned gifts are bequests and wills and trusts, and they're easy to create, and most people have a will or a trust. I've had clients over the years ask me, do I really need a will or a trust? And depending on whether or not I think they have any sense of humor at all, I say you do not need a will if you're never going to die. To which one person said, you know, I may not live forever, but so far so good. Planned giving is a program that allows the faithful disciples of Jesus Christ to leave a legacy to ensure that the church will be provided for in the future. We certainly expect our church to be here long after we're gone. However, our giving programs often focus solely on the now and not on tomorrow. Think for a moment about the Presbyterians in the past who made gifts that allowed this wonderful church to be here. If not for their vision and commitment to the future, First Pres might not exist. Isn't it our obligation as Christians to do all we can to sustain this for the Presbyterians who will sit in these pews in the future? You've probably heard of the 1869 Memorial Fund. It got its name from the year the church was first established here in Santa Barbara. Previously, when gifts and bequests from wills and trusts were made to the church just spent the money. But Fred Marsh, Peter Bueller, Dave Ardell, and others felt that we should have a long-term investment fund for the future needs of the church. In 2008, a client of mine, Sherman Condon, died. He lived right across the street. He was an auditor at the San Roque Post Office, and he left $2.4 million to the church. The 1869 fund was established then and remains in effect today. Ideally, it is best if we only spend 5% of this fund each year for current needs, because in that way, it is self-perpetuating and theoretically could last forever. However, the 2024 budget requires that 9% of it be used, and in the last 2 years, because both pledges and income were down, it was necessary to use nearly 8% so that services, programs, and staff would not have to be cut. Of course, this is not sustainable, and it diminishes the fund. What I am encouraging today is the making of future gifts which will build up the fund so that there will be adequate income to withdraw each year for current needs, and that the principal will still remain the same or actually increase, allowing for more income to be available. The statement of the purpose of the 1869 fund reads in part, quote, "The fund is one of the resources that God has provided this congregation to be used on His behalf. This fund has been built by the bequests of faithful stewards, both members and friends, who have chosen to provide a gift to this church through their will or living trust in order to strengthen the ongoing work of the church. These donors recognize the opportunity to give a last tithe that will strengthen the church, which strengthened them during their time and years in Santa Barbara. These gifts allow the church to accomplish much more than would be possible if the church's financial resources were limited to the annual stewardship funding. Just as stewardship funding gives us a chance to return to God a portion of our annual income, bequest to the church provides a means to share the accumulated gifts that God has given us as support for the ministry of the church. Everyone who has notified the church that they have provided for the church's future in their will or trust becomes a member of the 1869 Society and receives lifetime recognition. On the wall of the Prior Lounge, next door, right near the fireplace, is the 1869 Society tree. Each leaf has the name of a person who has made a provision for the church. We thank everyone who's been a part of that, and soon there'll be a luncheon honoring the Society members. There's still time for each of you to become a member as well, and I hope you will do so. It is said that the best time to start a planned giving program was 25 years ago. The second best time is now. And although we're certainly not starting from scratch, there's not been any emphasis on this for the past several years, and from now on we feel that this should change. It is common that churches request money that will be used immediately and just let Providence provide for the long-term and future needs. This is often neither reliable nor effective. Churches need not abandon their commitment to meet human needs today if they also plan for their financial future. Congregations understand that attending to the poor, attracting talented clergy and staff, providing social outreach, maintaining the roof on the buildings, and updating the office computers will take more money tomorrow than it does today. A support fund will relieve congregations from future dilemma of having to choose one financial priority among many simply because of a lack of funding and revenue. There are several reasons why church members would create planned gifts, and each person's motivations will differ, but they usually are one of the following three. The first is to give back. With yearly pledging and Sunday offering plates, there's a spirit of giving in this congregation. Legacy gifts in the future are another way to give back to your church community that does so much good in people's lives and will help maintain the work of the church and assure the continued strength and vitality of its ministries. The second reason is to demonstrate commitment. Church members may be looking for ways to deepen their commitment to Christ and to the community that has been created here. Planned giving is a way to give larger and more impactful commitment than members would otherwise be able to do because it is deferred and does not draw on money they need to live on now. The third reason is to improve end-of-life plans. Legacy giving opens opportunities that will encourage church members to approach their end of life faithfully and productively. These gifts can be a final testament of faith, and estate planning can be an act of love in a church member's life. It's a sign of appreciation, whatever amount you give to your church and to your God. The most common planned gifts are those in a will or a living trust. They do not affect the donor's everyday cash flow because they are a gift that the church will receive when the donor passes away. This makes planned gifts a simple and painless way to show your support. You could also give gifts of appreciated real property or securities, because if you have something that's gone up in value and you sell it yourself, you will have a capital gains tax obligation. But if you give it to the church, now or in the future, there will be no tax obligation when the church receives and sells it. And finally, there's another way to make planned gifts, and that's if you have an IRA account, you can make charitable distributions from your IRA without having to pay income taxes on the distributions as you would when you're taking your RMD. This can also be done as a final post-death distribution of an IRA or retirement fund, which is something I have done as part of my estate plan so I can make a substantial gift to the church at the time of my death. Of course, since you now know the plans that I have in place and how the church will be enriched following my demise, I certainly hope this will in no way diminish your enthusiastic prayers for my speedy recovery should I fall ill in the future. In closing, I simply want to say that gift giving is at the heart of the Christian faith. The fundamental task of planned giving in the church is to enable people to expand their vision of stewardship to encompass their wealth and assets as well as their income. The Old Testament makes it clear that God's people must recognize the temporal nature of possessions. What we have was given to us and will eventually pass to another. The faithful make sure that some of this is given back to God. We do not have the option of true ownership, and we can't take it with us. Our faith, our religion, and the First Presbyterian Church is very important to all of us, or we would not be here today. Many people feel that their affiliation with the church is one of their defining characteristics of their identity. Creating a legacy gift could allow you to make the biggest and most lasting impact of your life on this church. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless and perpetuate this church forever.